What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are here to talk about a very special man, and that man goes by the name of Hansi Flick, or as he's known around this hood, the Meet No Ball hood, the Flickinator. And the reason why I want to talk about the Flickinator is because yesterday I saw a stat that really caught my eye, and I'm sure most of you guys saw it as well, but it kind of went under the radar after that thrashing against Valencia. And the stat is that Barca so far this season have already scored 100 goals. 100 goals in all comps, triple digits, and we're only in January. And that to me is so impressive, we have to talk about it. And I want to take this time to talk about Hansi Flick and what his potential all-time ranking is when his career is all said and done at Barcelona. Where could he rank amongst Barca coaches this century if he actually wins more trophies this season? Because I posed this question on Twitter yesterday, and it kind of motivated me to make this video. And I asked there, if Hansi Flick wins, let's just say the Copa del Rey and the UCL, or let's just say he wins the UCL and another trophy, whether it's the league or the Copa del Rey, whatever, but he wins the UCL and another trophy, where would he rank amongst Barca coaches all time, or at least this century? Where would you rank him? And look, trust me, I can already see the comment section. This video is so premature. I get it. Hansi Flick has only been at the job for 7 months, and he's only won one trophy. And it's the smallest trophy you can win. That, of course, is the Spanish Super Cup. But the reason why I feel comfortable making this video is because I really believe, and this video could come back to bite me in the ass, and I'm okay with that. Okay, because I put my opinions out there, and when I'm wrong, I expect people to clown me. But I feel comfortable saying this. I believe Barca are going to end the season with more trophies. I believe that when it's all said and done, the trophy cabinet for 2024-2025 Barcelona is not just going to be a Spanish Super Cup. I think Barca are going to win more trophies, and I predicted us to win the UCL before the season started. And honestly, bro, I'm not backing off that prediction. So let's just say Barca win the UCL and another trophy this season. Let's just say the Copa del Rey, because the league is looking unlikely at this point because we're 7 points behind Madrid. There's still a long way to go, but still, they're ahead of us and they're playing some good football. But let's just say he does that. Okay? Where would you rank him? Where would you rank him? Answer that question for me right now. Where would you rank him? Honestly, let's think about this. This video is more like a thought exercise. Because this to me is so intriguing, right? Because Barca have had so many great coaches this century. A lot of bad ones, but also really great coaches, historic coaches. And, you know, it might be an uncomfortable conversation to say after one season, if he wins the UCL and wins the Copa del Rey, he's ahead of Lucho. But I would be ready to put him ahead of Lucho. I'd be ready to put him ahead of Rijkaard. And who knows, maybe if he stays at Barca for 5-6 years, which is very unlikely for Barca coaches. Usually they wear out really, really quickly, as we saw with Pep, Lucho, Rijkaard. They're in and out. But let's just say this guy stays for 6 years and he wins multiple UCLs. Could he be ahead of Pep? We all think Pep is untouchable as Barca manager, and I still believe that. I believe he's the greatest manager, not just of all time, but not just of Barcelona, but of all time, but definitely the best Barca manager ever. But with what we've been seeing from Hansi Flick, again, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic here, because these performances that we've been seeing over the past 7 months are remarkable. It's some of the best attacking football I've ever seen in my life. Forget with Barca, I've ever seen, bro. And I've been watching Barca for a long time. I have that privilege of being obviously older. You guys call me Unc, I'm 23, so I might be Unc to some of you guys, but I have been watching Barca for a long time. I've seen most of these coaches. I watched the end of Rijkaard. I didn't see the beginning of Rijkaard because I was too young, but I watched the end of it, you know? I watched all of Pep. I watched all of Lucho. I watched Quique Setién. I watched, rest in peace, Tito Vilanova. I watched all these guys. I watched Ernesto Valverde. All really, really good coaches. Not Quique Setién, but Valverde and Tito were good coaches. But none of these guys compare to Hansi Flick. He's in that. I think if Barca win these trophies this season, these 2 trophies that I'm talking about, the UCL and another one, and again we have to see how we do it. But if we continue to do it in this dominant fashion, what's stopping him from being number 2 already? And I think the reason why I might already put him ahead of Lucho and Rijkaard is because look at what he inherited. Context matters here, bro. And look, Lucho won a treble his first year there, but Lucho had MSN. This guy doesn't have MSN. Lucho came in and had the best attacking trio football has ever seen. And Lucho kind of underachieved, in my opinion, in his latter years at Barca. We could have won way more with MSN. We didn't. Only won 1 UCL. Only, but, you know, we definitely should have won more. Rijkaard started off slow. And he also inherited a fairly decent team. You obviously had Ronaldinho coming in when he came in. And Dino was on his way to becoming, you know, the best player in the world for that stretch. You had someone to throw. You had some good players. You had Puyol. You know, you had a good base. You had a good core. And I'm not saying that Barca have a bad core now, but this team that he inherited went trophyless last season. Barca went trophyless last year, and it was one of the worst seasons I've ever seen Barca have. And he signed one guy. It's not like we have a totally different squad. He signed one player, and that's Dani Olmo. And Dani Olmo barely ever plays. He's always injured. And even with that, even with all the injuries we had to the first team early on in the year, look what he's done. And I understand that the league positioning is not great. Okay, we're sitting 3rd, and we've been terrible in the league over the past 2 months. And a lot of that does fall at the feet of Hansi Flick because he is the coach. When he gets credit, when he gets credit, we all we love it, but he also deserves criticism. Because when he does well, we credit him, but when he does bad, we also have to say, you know what, this has been kind of on you. But, I mean, for me, I see a different level than what I'm seeing from every other Barca team. And again, like I said, this guy doesn't have some super team. And look at the way he's elevated these players. That's the best way to me to judge. That's the best way to me to judge a coach. How do your players perform when you get there? Do they take a step up? And all these guys have taken a step up. Everybody from the Barca team last season has been better this season. Every single player who was playing for Barca last season, who's playing now, has improved. Whether that's Rafinha, who's looking like fucking the best player in the world, and a lot of Barca fans wanted to sell him for Nico Williams. Remember that? Now look at him. No one wants to sell Rafinha. Look at Robert Lewandowski, who I thrashed for the past year and a half. He's been really good under Hansi Flick, going back to some of his best. He's having a really, really good year. Definitely his best year at Barca, in my opinion. Look at Lamine Yamal, who we know was amazing last year under Xavi's second half of the year and was amazing at the Euros with Luis de la Fuente. I'm not going to sit here and say that Lamine Yamal's success is thanks to Hansi Flick, but Lamine Yamal looks like a different player. I mean, he's looking like the best player in the world, honestly, under Hansi Flick. And the way that he's utilizing him. Look at a guy like Marc Gasol, who couldn't get a sniff of the first team under Xavi. Look what he's doing now. Look at a guy like Pedri, who's managed to stay fit and the way he's operating in this deeper role. I mean, he's thriving. Look at a guy like Alejandro Valde, who we all thought was terrible. I mean, last season under Xavi before he got hurt, but we all saw the potential. And look what Hansi Flick is doing with him now, unlocking that potential. He's doing it with a backup keeper and a keeper who just came out of retirement, who was smoking cigarettes a couple months back. He's doing all that with those players. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that Barca have a shitty team, because we don't. Far from it. We have probably the best young, not even probably, we have the best young squad and the best youngster in world football. I'm not going to sit here and not like Barca have some terrible team. But it's not a team that you would expect to be performing this way. Before the season, nobody had these expectations for Barca. Nobody. Including me, and I'm the biggest Barca fan you will find on the planet. So again, when you contextualize it against Lucho and against Rijkaard, even against Pep, bro. Even when you think about Pep, look at the team. Look, and no disrespect to Pep, because I love him. I think he's the greatest coach of all time and definitely the greatest coach in the history of Barcelona. And that's not going to change for a while. It's going to be a long time until someone surpasses Pep. But look at the squad that Pep inherited. Look at that team who made the UCL semifinal the year before and lost by 1 goal to Man United. Obviously, that Paul Scholes banger that he scored at Old Trafford. But look at the team. Look at the team that he inherited. A young Xavi, a young Iniesta. You had Busquets coming up from the first team. You had Piqué. You had Victor Valdés, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You had Eric Vidal at left back, who was amazing. Obviously, Vidal. You had this young kid from Argentina with long hair, 19 years old. I forget his name, but he was pretty. I think he ended up being pretty good. You had Samuel Eto'o, who was one of the best strikers on the planet. You had Thierry Henry, not quite in his prime, but still really, really good. And we saw that because he contributed massively to that treble-winning team. The squads are night and day. That Barca squad is probably, in my opinion, not even probably. It's inarguably, honestly, the greatest team of all time. It is. It just is. You can talk about Chelsea, whatever you want, blah 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 blah. And on paper, in terms of a squad, there's never been a squad like that one. Hansi Flick doesn't have that now. And look what he's managed to do. And again, he hasn't won other trophies yet. But even the biggest rival fan, do you think this Barca team is only going to win 1 trophy this season? Do you think if Hansi Flick stays for a long time, they're not going to win big trophies? Maybe the UCL. I know it's been a long time, but if anybody can break that curse, it's definitely Hansi Flick. Look at what he's doing now. Look at the performances we've had against Madrid. Against Carlo Ancelotti, arguably the greatest manager of all time. Look at the performances that Hansi Flick has. Look at the way he's outcoached them twice, bro. A 4-0 at the Bernabeu and a 5-2 in a cup final. That's not normal, man. And thoroughly outplayed them both times. Look what he did against Bayern Munich, finally breaking that curse against Bayern Munich and getting us that win. It had been so long since we had beaten Bayern Munich, and this guy doesn't just beat them, he spanks them. Look at the games against Valencia yesterday, and against Valladolid, and against Girona, and against Sevilla, and against Young Boys, and against Red Star. And look at all these games, and look at the way that Barca play. And you tell me that's not a manager that has completely revolutionized the team, and not a manager who has the potential, when it's all said and done, to have a place in the Mount Rushmore of Barca coaches. He does, bro. In my opinion, he does. And again, this is all predicated on the fact that he has to win more trophies. But I believe he will, and that's why I feel comfortable making this video. And I wanted to make this video because honestly, I like to hear different opinions on this. I asked it on Twitter, but obviously I have a bigger platform here than I do on there. So I want to ask you guys, and again, if you think I'm being premature and I'm being dumb, let me know in the comment section, bro. It's all love here. I don't give a fuck. I understand this video might seem silly to some of you guys, but I wanted to take this time to talk about Hansi Flick and what he's done, and also just project forward a little bit and talk about if this guy does continue the success with bigger trophies. Is it fair to start saying he's one of the best coaches of all time, one of the best Barca coaches this century after one season? And to me, I believe it is fair. Because if we were winning these games 1-0 or we weren't playing this attractive brand of football, I would say, you know what, it's it's not time yet, because at Barcelona, it's not just about the results, it's also about the way you play. Part of the reason why Pep is so beloved in Barca is because the way that he played, he introduced this new brand of football that became beloved worldwide, and so many new Barca fans got introduced to the sport. So many new Barca fans got introduced to the club and actually to the sport because of Pep and the way that he played. You know, when you look at Lucho and MSN and the firepower, but this is just like they also played some beautiful football, but this is right up there, man. And it's not the typical Barca style of tiki-taka, you know, 20 touches and then you get into the box. There's a lot of passing going on, but it's a lot of deep runs. It's a lot of Falco Warsi playing a ball over the top and Rafinha making a run from the midfield. The midfielders making runs into the box, as we saw with Frankie de Jong yesterday and his goal. So he's doing it in a different way, in an unconventional way, but I love him, man. And I love watching this team and the way that they're performing, and I love watching this manager and what he's doing so far. So I wanted to take this time to just talk about that, because 100 goals, man, this attacking football that we've seen is remarkable. And I understand that the league form has not been great since November. Trust me, I understand that better than anybody. But I think every Barca fan would be, if we could finish third in the league, and if we win the UCL, and if we win the Copa del Rey, or even just the UCL, because it's been so long, if he can be the guy that brings us back to that UCL trophy, which we're one of the favorites currently to win it, by the way. It's not just me talking out of my ass. If you look at the odds, the betting odds, Barca are one of the favorites along with Liverpool and Real Madrid to win the UCL. We're going to qualify in the top 8. A lot of big teams can't say that. We're sitting second. We've only lost one game. They've only lost one game in the UCL thus far. And that was against Monaco, the first match. Every other game apart from that, it's been a win. So if any coach has a chance to do it, it's this guy. We had a chance under Valverde with Messi, but that was mostly thanks to Messi. No one credits Ernesto Valverde for that. But if this team manages to win the UCL, it would be as a collective of an effort, as I've seen it be. The coach would be the forefront, bro. Like I said, this team was a nightmare to watch last year under Xavi, and the way that he's transformed it with one signing that's barely on the page is remarkable, man. So I want to know your guys' thoughts on what I said. Am I yapping? Am I actually speaking some facts? Let me know in the comment section down below. I actually believe I'm speaking facts, but again, some people might think I'm yapping and just, you know, I just want to talk. But I really wanted to, because I asked it on Twitter yesterday, so it kind of motivated me to make this video and just kind of get more opinions about it, because I really believe that if Hansi Flick does manage to do this, we have to start talking about him as one of the best Barca coaches this century already. And maybe some older Barca fans can let me know in the comment section down below what you think. If you got a chance to watch all of Rijkaard and all of Pep and all of Lucho, and if you watched Barca for the past 30 years, maybe you can let me know. I'd love to hear it. Obviously, get some insight on that, because again, I am a younger, if you want to call it that, a younger, you're not young, bro. But anyway, I am pretty young. 23 is young. But I am a younger Barca fan. So again, just let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And yeah, man, I love every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.